You're listening to a very special interview with Ireland's favourite son, Finbar Furey, right here on America's only Irish station, RadioIrish.com. This exclusive interview comes to you in 4 parts. Just search YouTube for Finbar Furey and all 4 parts of our Radio Irish interview with Finbar should appear. For more information on Finbar Furey or to purchase a copy of Finbar's brand new CD, visit finbarfurey.com and stay tuned to America's only Irish station, Radio Irish.
I must go back to the top of the pops again. The Dubliners were the first ones to actually break it down in 1968. So that's when the trouble started. The Dubliners got a number 1 with their 7 Drunken Nights. But it was lovely to come back in with Sweet 16, you know, because the British always looked at the Paddies as just a drunken mob on stage. And of course, when the Dubliners went and done 7 Drunken Nights, it impressed them very much, you know.
You have helped bring the issues affecting Ireland's traveller community to a wider audience, Finbar. Indeed, a few years ago you joined other fellow musicians in the release of the Pavey Point CD, Travellers and Fellow Travellers, Keepers of the Flame, which celebrated the 20th anniversary of Pavey Point Travellers Centre. How important is this type of ongoing work for you, Finbar?
Well, that's very important, you know, because at the time my daughter was working for Davey Point and she put the library together for them, you know. She is a PhD in Celtic Studies in Roman and Greek mythology, Anya. And she did it in UCC, Cork University and Dublin University. Martin helped her out. But both of these kids, like, are college-educated kids. It's great, you know, and she was very, very involved in it, you know. Like, I'm there if they need me, they just phone me, you know. I just do my thing and I'm always there. That's all.
Now, your own musical traditions are being handed down in the Furey family, of course, with your daughter Anya Furey releasing her first US solo album, Cross My Palm, and your son Martin Furey holding fort as one of the High Kings, of course, alongside Finbar Clancy, Liam Clancy's son, Brian Dunphy, Sean Dunphy's son, and Darren Holden. Indeed, Anya and Martin also make up the popular duo Bohinta, with great success there. Was this important to you, Finbar, to see your children pursue the musical tradition in the family?
It was actually the last thing I wanted them to do because, you know, with the lack of education, I mean, I left school when I was 11. I was working on the road, you know, paying rent with my father. And I wanted to give them an education because my father once said to me, and he apologised to me because he didn't have the money to do it for us. And unfortunately, you need money in Ireland to educate your children, especially after they leave school, you know, to go to college. We just didn't have it in them days, you know. And but it was lovely to see the kids coming out with their degrees and their gowns, you know. And I cried when I saw it. And I said, well, my father had just died shortly before that. And I said, wow, he would have loved to see that, you know. It's very important that we move forward with everything. We don't stand still, and it's no use. You can't live in the past. You've got to move forward, you know. And education, to me and to my people and my father's people, was the way forward. Whether it would be music or any other part of life or any other trade you're in, you must have an education to get in there. And especially the kids now in the world. You know, as the world is so fast now. It was much easier in our day. So the kids now are moving out. So I didn't want them at all involved in the music business because it's an awful sort of I know some great musicians who never got a break, you know, and these guys now sit at home in the pubs and they play a couple of tunes in the daytime and the whole life passed them by, you know, because they never picked up a trade or did that, you know, and it's sad when you see it. So it's a very iffy sort of business to be in, you know, if only this and if only that, you know. I think that if you chased it down, it does never happen. I think you've got to let it chase you, you know what I mean? So it's one bit of advice. When they did decide that they were going to be musicians, it was very funny because both of them had their degrees and they handed their 2 degrees to my wife Sheila and they just turned to me and said, now we want to do what you do. I said, okay. So then I knew then they were going to play music for the rest of their lives. So, and I'm very, very proud of them. I walk on air every time I see them. When I first saw the High Kings, it blew me away. Because Finbar Clancy, that's Bobby's son, he was called after me. I'm his godfather, you know. And I knew Bobby so well. I lived out the same suitcase with his father for 3 years. And it was just like, you know, deja vu, you know, looking up at the stage and listening to them. It sounded just like myself and Bobby up there singing, you know, again. And it was lovely, you know. And then my daughter Anya's album, the news getting last night on her, she was voted best female vocalist, Irish female vocalist, and best album of the year. That was brilliant. What do you do? I have another son now, Robert, and he's in Australia at the moment. He's actually in a play. He's an actor. So he's out there touring a play out in Australia right as we speak. So he's in the arts, but in a different way. He's a brilliant guitar player, but he always wanted to act on stage, and that's what he does, you know. Then my other daughter, Katrina, she's the manager of Stirco's, which is a very famous fashion shop in Dublin, the Italian clothes, where she took Tiger Woods and his wife around the shop, and he bought clothes when he was there during the Ryder Cup. So I'm very proud that the kids are doing great, you know. But I've never said to them, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. I let them, you know, they grow into flowers. And when they grow into flowers, and trust me, it's lovely to see it, you know. But you've never, anything that's ever been forced to grow was never very pretty. Anything that's left to grow naturally is always very, very lovely. And to see the kids growing naturally with an education and moving forward, that makes me very proud.
Now, the music industry, Finbar, has undergone great change, and it could be said that you don't really need to be talented to be on the top of the charts anymore. Do you think there'll come a day again when a group like the Furey brothers will top the charts again, or do you think that day is sadly gone?
I think it's over now. I don't think the kids at home has the same... Like in Ireland, over here, they would come to America, they would find their heritage here, because their heritage is all around them in Irish centres and places like that. But for the kids living at home in Ireland, you know, it's very hard for them to understand that they've never seen Ireland from a distance like I have. I mean, like a lot of immigrants have, you know, and it makes you cry, and all they want to do is go home, you know. There's not that excitement about bands, you know, and I think the days of the Dubliners and the Clancys and the Fureys and all that, I think it's over now, you know. I think it's a whole new ball game now, and I think it's all big money. I mean, there's guys going around with a briefcase and they plug it into the wall and they're getting paid a lot of money, you know, for doing karaoke on stage, and they're fooling people, and I think it's very sad. But that's greed, you know. Money does it, you know, and you get... I don't understand it. I mean, you know, if I walk into a pub and I want to have a nice pint, it's nice to listen to a guy or a girl in the corner playing guitar or singing or playing a fiddle or flute. It's lovely, you know. But like most of the bars you go into now, your ears are blasted out of it. You have to run, you know, for the door. You don't hear that. There's no grandeur anymore, you know. But and in Ireland, it's just the same as any other big city in the world, you know. Dublin or any big city in Ireland. They're all got these head-banging music that goes on. Like, it's not my music, and it's all cheap stuff that's put together like on a treadmill, you know. One band in, the other band out. But there are some great bands coming up. There's a young band at the moment called The Script, and you have to hear these guys play. They're incredible, but they play rock music. But it's a form of rock folk, you know, and it's incredible to hear. And it's moving, but in a different direction, you know. And then you get a lot of good traditional bands, like you have Shannon out there at the moment. Shannon is brilliant, you know, Martin O'Connor. Martin is a wonderful player. He's great. And there are a couple of great bands out there that are registered, you know, with the heritage of the music, you know. And then you got young ballad groups coming up. But they're never given a chance because they can't break down the door. There's too many big businessmen there, and there's too much red tape. And you need to have $1 million now for to get played on the radio, you know. And music is money now. It doesn't mean much, you know, and that's very sad.
Martin Scorsese took a great shining to your talents, Finbar. You appear in the film Gangs of New York, starring Daniel Day-Lewis there and Leonardo DiCaprio. You appear in the film singing the song New York Girls. What was it like working with Martin Scorsese?
The song was written just after the famine. I didn't write the song. The song is traditional. And the first time I ever sang the song was with the Clancy brothers. It was the excitement. I know Daniel Day-Lewis fairly well anyway. I've known Daniel for a long time, since he played Christy Brown, you know, by Left Foot.
You're listening to a very special interview with Ireland's favourite son, Finbar Furey, right here on America's only Irish station, RadioIrish.com. For more information on Finbar Furey, or to purchase a copy of Finbar's brand new CD, visit finbarfurey.com. And stay tuned to America's only Irish station, Radio Irish.
And even before that,